Imagine a pathogen so ancient that its shadow was cast over the laws of Mesopotamia 4,000 years ago. In those ancient texts, a man whose dog bit another was fined heavily, the first recorded liability insurance, for a biological threat. Today, we have self-driving cars and orbital telescopes, yet we are still hunted by a biological system with a 99.9% failure rate. In this context, failure isn't a glitch, it is a mathematical certainty of death once symptoms appear. This isn't a modern pandemic that shuts down borders, it is the rabies virus, the ultimate legacy liability of the natural world. It is a zoonotic disease, a master of crossing the species barrier, and it has been refined by evolution to be the most efficient hardware hacker in existence. While the world's focus shifts to new respiratory viruses that disrupt global supply chains, the rabies virus has been quietly running its own lethal economy in the background, claiming nearly 60,000 lives every single year. The reason this matters right now is not a sudden outbreak, but our collective complacency. We have the technology to stop it, the rabies vaccine, yet the global burden of this virus remains staggeringly high in developing economies. To understand the rabies virus, you have to stop thinking of it as a fever or a flu. Think of it as a master of transmission and stealth, an apex predator that operates on a microscopic scale. Most viruses are like a broadcast attack. They flood the bloodstream, hoping to hit a target. That makes them easy for your immune system to intercept and liquidate. But rabies is different. It doesn't travel through the public highways of your blood. Instead, it uses your own nervous system as a private, high-speed fiber optic network. When an infected animal bites a host, the virus is deposited in the muscle tissue. This is where the incubation period begins. This period is a biological grace period that can last anywhere from a few weeks to an entire year. During this time, the patient feels nothing. There is no alarm, no inflammation, and no red flags on the body's diagnostic dashboard. The virus is essentially sitting in the lobby, waiting for its chance to gain entry to the main server. It's looking for the peripheral nerves. Once it finds a nerve ending, it begins its slow, deliberate trek toward the central nervous system. The irony of the rabies virus is its patience. It moves at an agonizingly slow rate of about 12 to 100 millimeters per day. It's the perfect insider threat. Because it stays inside the nerve cells, it remains invisible to the body's white blood cells. While the virus is traveling through the nerves, the window for post-exposure prophylaxis, PEP, is wide open. If you pay the debt early by getting vaccinated immediately after a bite, the virus is neutralized before it ever reaches the brain. This is the most critical financial window in human health. But the moment that virus crosses the blood-brain barrier and enters the central nervous system, the account is liquidated. The time for intervention is over. This is the uncomfortable math of rabies. The interest on this biological debt accumulates in total silence, and by the time you see the bill,
Once
you are already...
Once the rabies virus reaches the brain, it stops being a silent passenger and starts acting as the lead architect of the host's behavior. This is where the system truly reveals its dark brilliance. From an evolutionary perspective, the virus doesn't want to kill the host immediately, it needs the host to facilitate the next transmission event. After taking over the brain, the virus migrates back out, but not to the nerves, it goes to the salivary glands. This is where the viral load in the saliva becomes incredibly concentrated, turning the host's mouth into a delivery system for the next transaction. To ensure the virus moves to a new host, it triggers a state known as furious rabies. It hijacks the limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for raw emotion, inducing aggression and an uncontrollable urge to bite. But there is a more famous, more psychological mechanism at play: hydrophobia, or the fear of water. In popular media, this looks like a choice, but in reality, it is a physical rejection. The virus causes intense, painful spasms in the throat when the host tries to swallow. This is the ultimate resource management strategy. The virus needs the saliva to stay in the mouth, loaded and ready for the next bite. Swallowing would wash the virus into the stomach, where the acidic environment would neutralize the pathogen. By making the host unable to drink, the virus ensures its delivery system remains high pressure and the saliva remains concentrated. It's an absurdly efficient piece of biological engineering, a hardware hack that forces the host to protect the virus at the cost of the host's own life. The hype versus reality of rabies often centers on the image of a frothing, stray dog in a distant country. While dogs are responsible for 99% of human cases globally, the reality in developed nations is shifted toward wildlife, particularly bats. Bats are the high-frequency traders of the rabies virus world. Their bites are so small and painless that they often go unnoticed, leading people to skip the post-exposure prophylaxis, PEP. We have seen cases where the hidden cost of a single bat in a bedroom led to a fatal outcome simply because the risk wasn't priced in by the victim. When we zoom out to the bigger implications, we see a massive failure in our public health infrastructure. We have had an effective vaccine since Louis Pasteur's breakthrough in 1885. From a purely economic standpoint, eradication is entirely possible. We have seen successful vaccination programs for domestic animals in several regions that have effectively bankrupted the virus locally. However, the global burden persists because the cost of the vaccine, the buy-in for safety, is often higher than the monthly wage of the people most at risk in parts of Asia and Africa. We are essentially allowing an ancient, 100% fatal pathogen to exist because of a distribution bottleneck. There is a concept in medicine called the One Health approach. It suggests that human health is inextricably linked to the health of animals and the environment. If we don't fund the vaccination of animal populations, we leave a permanent door open for human infection. It's like neglecting the maintenance on a bridge and then being surprised when it collapses. We are playing a game of statistical probability every day. Every untreated bite is a 100% loss. Every successful animal campaign is a hedge against future tragedy. Even the rare stories of survival, like the famous Milwaukee Protocol, are often more hype than reality. Those cases are statistical anomalies, and the recovery often involves permanent, devastating neurological damage. There is no bailout once the virus takes hold. We are left with a thought-provoking conclusion. In an age where we are editing genes, curing complex cancers, and launching private rockets, how is it that a virus from 2300 BC still maintains a perfect kill rate? Is the persistence of rabies a failure of science, or is it a calculated choice of a global system that values some lives more than others? The virus is just a machine following its code, looking for its next investment. The real question is, why are we still letting the program run? As we move deeper into the 21st century, the debt of the past is still waiting to be paid, and the cost of ignoring it is